Hey everyone, welcome back. I am James Bork, CEO and co founder of Into, and today we'll be playing the role of that one professor that you learned a lot from, but also had beers with after class. And I am joined today by Tomek, who will be, I guess in this case, the student, but he is our everyman sounding board. Tomek, how you doing today?
I'm doing really well, thank you. Nice to be here, James. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure to speak with Aspect. You guys are fun, and you guys ask great questions. So today we're talking about a lot of things within the context of account abstraction. We've seen a lot of people trying to solve kind of the most basic problem, which is getting people onto Web3. We've seen a lot of projects come out and invest a lot of time and invest a lot of effort into to helping users even just go from browser to Web3 when their purpose is really tied to more, right? 4337 has enabled programmable accounts, which leverages programmable internet money. And all of the innovation, all of the focus, and all of the narrative that we're seeing kind of still focuses on just getting people to create accounts. They can't enjoy the benefits of my product because I can't get them to use my product. And so part of this kind of narrative that's been shaping up, we today kind of want to introduce the concept of progressive onboarding and how that relates to things like Face ID, social login, bundlers, kind of the whole 9 yards of it in under 15 minutes.
Sounds like a very ambitious plan, but let's do it. So, you were telling me
All right.
earlier about the concept of how a user can be onboarded and where there are the three shares of the account. As a user, where do I start and what do I really see? Because the user experience right now is difficult, and I'm wondering from the user perspective, what how is it different whenever I approach a site, a product that offers progressive onboarding?
So there's two challenges that we need to overcome when it comes to progressive onboarding. The first one is gas, right? In order to interact with a Web3 network, you need to be able to pay for gas. And then the second is private key management. This is what wallets do, right? Primarily, it's managing your private key and then helping you connect to that network, broadcasting your signatures for you. With progressive onboarding, what you're effectively doing is you're creating an account that is either you're in custody of it or that you're sharing custody with your end user. And so with Into, we encouraged using 3 shares. One, because that's the minimum amount of shares required for an Into account. But two, it's the quickest to getting them to self-custody. So in this case, the end user, so in this case, you, Tomic, you can go ahead and create an Into account. And as an end user, you are just using Google single sign-on. You're just using biometrics. You're just using, passkeys, etc. And then me as the interface, whether that's a dashboard, NFT enabled game, whatever that might be, I'm actually participating in the creation of this account with you, right? So I, as the organization, do the heavy lifting with 2 key shares, and I subsidize the cost of that gas on your behalf. And then you, as an end user, are assigned one of the 3 Into shares, but that's completely abstracted away. You don't actually know that what you've done is now participated in a cutting edge multi-party computation protocol that's asynchronous for all Web3 networks. You don't know that, right? All that goes out the window. The goal here is to get you from, hey, I want to try this, to, hey, I'm using it and I love it, as quickly as possible, and removing all of this connecting to Web3 mayhem that is, kind of currently the status quo. Once you enjoy the product that we are offering you, we can then encourage you through our UX to basically take back custody of your account, right? This could be as simple as saying, hey, Tomic, for security purposes, please set up 2-factor authentication. And you can choose from a list of things that would serve as your second factor. So if your first was your, I'll say, single sign-on, the second could be a ledger. It could be your mobile phone. Right? It could be tied to your SIM card. It could be tied to another social media platform or chat platform. Right? We can assign it to just about anything. And what's happening under the hood is now, as an organization, I only have 1 out of 3 key shares, and you are now in control of the other 2. So now there is nothing that I can do with your account without your express approval, whether, in whichever factor that's associated with.
That sounds like there's a lot of work that the user no longer has to do that I would definitely want to get rid of and not be having to pay attention to. Especially
Yeah.
if I'm a user that's very scared and not understanding of how does it all really work. So that sounds like
Like,
a very good way to lower the barrier of entry. Now it's a
yes.
question of how do you really make it happen from the technical side?
First, just one more thing to add. This is kind of the expectation that Web3 has today for its end users. It's kind of like if in Web 1, the expectation was for you to manually reach out to an internet service provider and request an IP address for every time you connected to the internet. Like we had to abstract away all of that to get to the point where I connected to the Wi-Fi and now I'm magically online. I scanned a QR code on a modem and now I'm magically online. That's where we need to get to, right? We need to abstract all of this away, and Into is pushing in the right direction. There's other infrastructure that's also missing to make that possible. When we start looking at like the technical under the hood stuff for Into, back to your question, I'm going to say that it's easy. Our average developer goes from 0 to hello world in under 30 minutes. That you don't need to know anything more than JavaScript and maybe a little bit of Solidity for the super basic version. And then from there, sky's the limit. You can really customize what this onboarding experience is based on what your application is, right? If my product is a Web3 enabled game, I don't need that much security. What I need is a lot of convenience. People want to play. The reason that they're there is to play. And so if setting up an account is painful, sapped the joy from what I really spent effort in building. Now, if my product is a DeFi dashboard, if it's institutional trading, if it's something that's super, super important, then yeah, maybe you want to progressively onboard, but start with two-factor authentication and keep that third share to help them reset their password if they lose it, right? To help distribute the risk and not necessarily focus entirely on just the convenience. And so Intu's role in this is it's really to provide you as the builder of a product to integrate this technology directly into your product. Like I said, we don't want to introduce dependencies. We are not a service provider. We are providing you with technology. That technology will continue to work with or without Into. The product that you built with Into, the accounts that you created with Into will continue to work regardless of the status of it. And then once you kind of get familiar with it, you can customize this to behave in any way that you want, right? The amount of participants in an account, how many signatures do you need to form a verifiable signature, a working signature to authorize use of the account? How many participants do you need to manage the participants? All of that is customizable. You can also change which wallets. You can limit what that experience is. You can customize how to communicate with blockchains. You can customize which blockchains. But there's a world of possibilities once you've solved what's effectively an addressing problem, right? How do people that are not natively on the blockchain, how anything basically besides a smart contract or a node, how do you identify yourself to this network? And that's what Into is solving.
From the user perspective, going back to that third share that remains in this example in the custody of you as the product or service provider, are they seeing that? Are they going to be scared by that in any way that, hey, I'm only owning 66% of my account? Isn't it supposed to be fully decentralized? What's happening here?
So security is a lot like brakes. No one cares. No one gives a shit about the brakes until you need them. Like you don't buy a Ferrari because it comes with good brakes. You assume that it has good brakes because you want to go fast. Similarly, you need the brakes to go fast safely. And so a lot of this comes down to safety. If you are fully confident in your abilities to Web3 independent of a third party, then yeah, take back all three key shares. You can bring your own account, your own Into account to any one of these products. You don't have to participate in progressive onboarding if you don't want to.
But if I
But
leave it in your hands, you're going to be able to offer more functionalities that otherwise I wouldn't be able to get, right?
but if as an individual I know myself and I don't trust myself completely because I am a human being and I make mistakes, right? You don't want to put all those eggs in one basket. What that outlying share will do will enable you to basically trust a third party without trusting them completely, and also without allowing them to assign your trust further. Right? This is something that I don't think we talk about enough in Web 2 or Web 3. It's the I trust this website, and the trust that I assign to this website is then also assigned to literally thousands of other vendors, right? Legitimate interest. You get into the cookies and stuff. Like you are assigning your trust to all of these other people. With Into, when you have that key share, one, I can revoke that trust at any given point in time. And that partner can't assign that trust any further. They can't do anything without my express permission. So if I know that I'm going to make mistakes, I can leave, right? Let's say, or in this case, you can leave one share with me. You have two shares. And in the event that you lose one of them, you can come back to me and say, hey, help me reset my password. And you only have to trust me as long as you want, right? The minute that I've violated that trust or am no longer deserving of it, you can say, you know what? I'm going to revoke this without needing your permission to, and I'm going to go assign it somewhere else, whether that's with myself or with, another project, another organization, another whatever. And so it's this ability to have a very limited and clearly defined relationship with my customer so I can support them without necessarily removing their agency or their control of their account.
And why do you think it's key at this very moment for Web3 businesses to start looking into how do I let more people in because it's going to be easier for them to access my product?
We have a product market fit problem in Web3, right? We haven't seen that mainstream adoption, that, I don't know, Uber moment or Google moment, whatever you want to call it, Chat GPT moment more recently. It's been all very niche. It's all been all very specialized. It's been very focused. And my theory is that will continue until we preserve the why of Web3, right? We can't just imitate the technologies that already exist. The product has to be better than what the comparative product is in existing ecosystems. And right now, we can't deliver on any of those promises on that decentralization, the data privacy part, right? The self-custody, agency, self-sovereignty, all the fun ideological words. We can't deliver on any of that because people can't connect to our applications. We can't get them in the door, right? We're still in 1993 when it comes to connecting to Web3. And so we need to keep working on infrastructure and help people get online, connected to Web3 quicker, safer, faster. So I would just like to say thank you, Tomek. And any closing words?
I still see Web3 as the internet for the very technically adept people.
No,
So
no.
it's difficult for the everyday man that I'm representing here. Hey, that's my role to be able to get full value out of it, because it's just so much hassle, so much unknown, and so much education for me to go through in order to understand, trust, and know what to do, how to get on, how to have my wallet and
Yep.
secure it and be able to use it in the best way possible, rather than I go into ChatGPT, I use my email, I log in, I'm happy, and I have a completely new world open to me. And that
Yep.
world of Web3 is still closed to so many people. So I say open it up.
If you're using Web3 today, it's because you had a very compelling need that encouraged you, incentivized you to overcome the barriers to entry.
Mm-hmm.
And if we want mainstream users, that barrier can't be that high. It needs to be convenient. It needs to be as convenient as, in this case, ChatGPT. So 100% agree with you. We need to get there, but we can't do that until we finish building this infrastructure. So if you're interested in learning more, please find us into.xyz. Follow us on Twitter, do all of the things. Tomek, thank you so much for your time.
Subscribe and share. We will see you soon. Thank you so much, James. Always a pleasure. I'm learning every day. So today I
There you
learned
go.
we need more infrastructure to enable more users into Web3 and make it easier to come on board and get the goodies here.
There you go. Thanks, Tomek. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Take care.